Mrs. Peart-Wilmott. She has worked in both the private and public sector and has over 2 decades of experience in teaching at the secondary and tertiary levels. Mrs. Peart-Wilmott received a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from the Jamaica University College, Master's degree in Education from St. Mary's University in Minnesota, and several postgraduate diplomas in Education Leadership, Supervisory Management, and System Administration. She is the founder of, I'm going to just spell the letters, EYARTE. I don't know if that's supposed to be a word, but it means Empowering Youth at Risk Through Entrepreneurship, a nonprofit organization to assist unattached youth, and the LASCO MOEYI, that's the ministry, forgive me, masterclass, a mentoring program aimed at raising the bar of education in Jamaica. She has been a university lecturer, senior teacher, entrepreneur, and an acting principal. She is now the Chief Mentoring Officer with Jamaica's Teaching Council. Here to share with us mentoring for principals and teachers in the Jamaican setting, please join me in welcoming Mrs. Ingrid Peart-Wilmott.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome.
All right. Welcome, everyone. It's really very good to be here to share with you this afternoon on mentorship. And mentorship in Jamaica, I'm sure that most persons would understand when we talk about mentorship and the importance. But the question is, what are we doing as an education system as it relates to mentorship? And of course, we start with our beginning teachers. Our beginning teachers are those who have entered the system for the first time, most of whom are coming directly from our teacher training institutions. But of course, we do have teachers who would have been trained, but were not in the classroom. And so we also see these teachers as beginning teachers. Now, what do we do for the colleges? We do 2 days of mentorship and induction with the students who are leaving the institutions to go in the college, for them to be better able to navigate when they get in. It's a transitional kind of program. And also we train teachers who are in the system, excellent teachers selected by their principals, to be trained as mentors so that they can now guide these teachers for the first year of their experience in the classroom. So the question is, do beginning teachers need mentorship? Yes, but is it that there are other persons in the system who need mentorship? Certainly. We focus at the Jamaica Teaching Council on the mentorship of teachers, but we can't do this without the principals. And so, of course, we would ask our principals to select excellent teachers from their schools to be trained as mentors. And this is a program that they go through. They're certified and pinned as mentors to guide our teachers. Now, it's not just, when I was talking about curriculum-based and getting the content, that's very important, but that cannot be it. We look at the whole person. So we take the holistic approach to getting our teachers to be the best version of themselves. I'm very passionate about mentorship, very, very. And my experience in life, we learn to use the lemons to make lemonade. And so let me share a little experience I had with you. When I would have left my other life in auditing and went into the classroom, I remember an experience I had that was kind of daunting, in that I had a subject to teach that I wouldn't have done since I left high school. And that was some years later. And I remember going to my supervisor and I said to her, I would need your help here because I haven't done this in a while. And the response was, disappointing, to say the least. And so from that day, I made it my mandate to make sure that as much as is humanly possible, another teacher will never get to feel this way of being thrown out there on their own, not having the kind of support that they need. And so I want to use this opportunity to say to those of us who are here, let us make it our business to mentor others. And so I'm going to just share with you the whole reason behind mentorship and why I'm saying to all of us here, get involved. It's not their business, it's our business. And so I'm going to now share with you from my screen. All right, so we're going to talk now about, let me go from beginning, right. And so we're looking at mentorship and of course, we will agree that mentorship matters. And so I have for you a little game, and we're not here to play games, but we need to get this one. So here's a clue. We're looking at 6 picks, 1 word. And most of us are familiar with 4 words, 1 pick. So what we're going to talk about for the next few minutes, and this is a conversation, is based on the answer you get from the clues that are here. So you have just about 30 seconds. You're going to write your responses in the chat. It's the ultimate gift from the mentor, and I'm going to ask you to look at the first letter in each word. So 30 seconds, let's go. Write your answers in the chat. What are we focusing on? All right, did you get the answer? Did anybody get the answer? All right, so as we now uncover it, the answer is legacy. Legacy. So we want to focus for the next few minutes on the importance of legacy as it relates to mentorship. So your legacy is every life you've touched. That's your legacy, every life you touch. Legacy, mentorship in education. That's what I want us to look at this afternoon, and not to forget this, but as we go away, we want to look at the legacy that we're leaving from the day we enter the classroom until the day we leave. So here's a little important history lesson that I want us to look at. So here, we're going to now look at, the story of the mentor and how it all came about. Now, I know we all can read, so I won't be reading through, but there are some key things that I've highlighted there that I want us to pay attention to. And that is the 2 first words that's highlighted in red. A mentor is a trusted friend. Going down, friend and counsel. And then I move on, as is defined here, to say who a mentor is. And I want us to pay attention to the word that's highlighted there in red thereafter, act. Because we don't talk without acting. So the act of mentorship, what does that look like? When I say that I'm a mentor, what is expected of me? What are my mentees expecting of me? Now, we have to be really cognizant of the fact that you can't separate mentorship from relationship, because mentorship is built on relationship. So that's really very important for us to pay attention to. Now, the mentor's legacy, what's that? It's a summary of who we are and how we will be remembered. And of course, as we move from one position to the next and from one place to another, we leave a legacy. And the legacy that we leave will be tied up in the way we make people feel. Because the truth is that people will forget the things that we say. They might even forget what we give to them tangibly, but they will never forget the way that we make them feel. And so I want to encourage us as we go back to our workplaces, as we go back to our spaces, wherever that is, remember that you were leaving. We're building on our legacy every day, and it is something that we have to consciously do as we go through life. How do we make people feel? What is it that we're depositing in them? How are we adding value to the education system by being a mentor, by investing in the lives of those who are around us? So again, I'll emphasize, mentorship cannot be separated from relationship, because relationships are built, or mentorship is built on relationships. So it's not just, I have a role, I get a piece of paper to say I'm a mentor. It is so much more than that. It's giving of yourself. It's making that person know that you believe in them. It's investing in a life. And it's very important that we understand that this is something that is much bigger than us. It's bigger than the todays and the tomorrow. It will live on for years and years and years. Many times we impact lives and we are not even conscious of how we would have done that. So it's important that we're deliberate in our actions. Now, let's look at legacy, and we're going to take it one letter at a time. And the first one we're going to look at is the L in legacy. And it talks about the leader, because as a mentor, you're a leader. And remember that true leaders are not bosses. So you have to understand that you're not there to dictate. You're not there to show how much more you know, because guess what? We're all learning. And as educators, we are lifelong learners. And so we're learning from each other every day. So let's understand this, that the best mentors recognize that in the most noble form, the best of us, it's a duty that we're doing. It is a service. It is not something to hold over people's head because we know how to have a title or a position, but it's that of having the heart of a servant to ensure that when this life would have moved on from us, from our space, whether through promotion or whatever the situation is, the question is, what value did you add to this or these lives that were entrusted to you? We use a term mentees, the persons that we invest in. So let us now look at uncovering the strengths of our mentees. We are not going to be looking for their weaknesses and to highlight that, because truth be told, we all have them. We all struggle with weaknesses. We all have areas in our lives that we need to grow, and we're always, or should always be conscious of the Johara window, where we all have our blind spots. And so we're not there to point out, oh, I catch you, you didn't do this, but it's more of, how can I help you to be a better person? How can I see what this person is not seeing in them and bring the best out of them? That's the whole role of the mentor. You do this from heart and soul. You do this with passion. You do this because you care about people and their growth. And so we look at the E as we go through legacy. Mentors should possess the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. So we talk about empathy. Empathy is that we are seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears and feelings and with hearts. It's not just being there in a space with a position, but it's there with your heart. It's there with your whole being. I often say to the beginning teachers as they look to collect their degrees and to go out, and this is something that I'll put my job on the line to say: if you do not care about people, you should not be a teacher. If you don't care about the growth of your colleagues and the children that's put in your care, take that degree and go elsewhere. You should not be in the classroom, because being a teacher is so much more than knowing the content that you're asked to give. It's so much more than having a position in administration. It is being there to empower those that are entrusted in your care, whether it's your colleagues or the students or those in admin. Because sometimes as teachers, we tend to see our administrators as dragons. But did you know that you too can be a mentor in different ways to those who are your leaders, your bosses, because there are qualities that we all have that others can benefit from. How will we use them? And so you can only understand people if you feel them in yourself. And it goes back to that little gem we all would have learned. Most of us here are Jamaicans, would have Jamaican heritage, you know, where you learn to give what you would want to receive. And you make people feel the way that you would want to make, for others to make you feel. So you always put yourself in somebody else's position as a mentor, and ask yourself, if the shoes were on the other, on my feet, on their feet, how would they feel? And if I should take them and put them back on my feet, and they make me feel this way, would it be okay? And if it's not okay, do something about it. So as a mentor, you want to help your mentees to achieve their goal. And there's some questions that ask yourself, because first of all, remember that you're not there to deposit in your mentee. You don't have all the answers. It's a relationship. It's giving. It's taking. It is ongoing relationship and conversation with your mentee. And so together you have this conversation about the goals. What are the goals of your mentee? And many times they might not even see that, but that's the wisdom. That's the eyes of the mentor to see sometimes beyond what the mentees see, and to now help them to navigate their path to excellence, to become the best version of themselves, to really maximize their potential. And so you look at goals together, and then as a mentor, you guide your mentees to achieve those goals. And many times you will find, and this is very important, colleagues, you will find that you mentor persons who will take positions much higher than you even dreamed of. That's okay. That's okay, because that's your investment. So be proud of it. Don't hold back because you see in this person something that will take them to places that maybe it was never in your destiny. What is important is that you understand that this is something that you were called to do. You were called to deposit in others. You were called to see the best in them, and you're going to do all that it takes to ensure that step by step, you walk them there until they're comfortable enough to go out and sail on their own. And so we move on to the G in legacy. I'm sorry, the A. I moved on from the goal, the A. And the A talks about being authentic. Nobody really has a good relationship with a fake. If you don't know who you are, then how do you expect others to know you? If you can't accept who you are, how do you expect others to accept you? And so here's the reality. For us to really impact the world, for us to impact our mentees, we have to be authentic. We have to be at peace with ourselves. We have to understand that who we are, while we seek to continually grow, is the best that God has made. And when you understand that, you have no problem getting your mentees to see themselves as just that. Because now you're looking for people who are also authentic, and so you can make a true connection. And so out of that connection, you can grow together. Because remember, as I would have said before, and I want to reiterate, as mentors, you don't have all the answers. There are many, many, many things that you're going to learn from your mentees. It is a relationship where you both learn, you both grow together. Now, many times as mentors, we forget to bridge the gap, in that we come across, we want to be so perfect. We want to be this role model that, we're just the best for our mentees. But you know what is most important? Let your mentees know you, the real you, the authentic you, faults and all. Yes? Tell them your real stories? Did you all start off as excellent teachers? Well, I didn't. Have I made mistakes along the way? Yes. Have I learned from them? What can you learn from it? And, you know, being a mentor says you're going to so guide your mentees that they understand the principle that the wisest person is not the one who makes the mistakes, but the one who learns from the mistakes of others. And so as you grow, share your journey with them and get your mentees to see the real world through your experience. All right. So we move on to the C, and the C in legacy is care. You want to demonstrate care. Show your mentees that you care. And what does that look like? What does it look like when you say to somebody, I care? Many times we forget, we get so busy with getting all the things that we need to get done that we forget how to care, to truly care for our colleagues, to truly care for the people in our space. What does that look like? Let me encourage us, don't ever, ever compete. Compliment. God has given all of us gifts and talents, and if we should use them, let me share something with you. I can't plait here. I'm very, very terrible with my motor skills. So if you ask me to comb a child's hair, it's going to be disastrous. If you ask me to sew something, my son asked me to sew his epaulet on. And by the time I dropped him off at Manchester, it fell off. So you learn that you don't have all the answers, but there's somebody you might be able to design the epaulet. Somebody else can sew it on. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to understand that we need others. We are not an island, and that's where mentorship comes in. That's where the relationship comes in, where though you are the mentor, understand that you can learn from your mentee. So you work together and you share your talents and your gifts and look at the beautiful outcome that you'll have. So we're going to take a little look at the eagle. And many of us see the eagle and we understand this big bird that soars in the storm. But did you know that research is saying that no member of the bird family is more gentle and attentive to its young than the eagles? May I say to you, mentors, when the beginning teachers come to you, when you have new employees, co-workers, nurture them. Learn something from the eagle. Nurture them and help them to be the best version of themselves. And so we run on to the why. Yes, it is possible. Can I be an excellent teacher? My appraisal said otherwise. The students' grades said otherwise. How now do you expect me to be a better person? How can I be the best version of myself? And I want us to pause for a few minutes and just look through our staff room, our workspaces, and look at some of the things that were never said, but you see it in the eyes of your colleagues. You see the feeling of defeat, of failure. You might not be assigned the role as mentor, as in you were not given a pin, you were not given a certificate, you were not even asked to mentor someone. But look around you and think about a colleague who is struggling and ask yourself, is it okay to just let them be? Is it okay for them to continue, though I have the capability to help them to become the best version of themselves? Who's going to pay me? Nobody. At least not tangibly. Who will recognize me for this? Maybe nobody. But you know what? We're talking about legacy. You'd be surprised. You'd be very surprised when you give without expecting, when you invest in a life, how rewarding it is. When years down the road, sometimes you see these persons, and some of them, maybe like the 9 leper, might never turn back to say thank you. But don't do it for the applause. Don't do it for the recognition. Do it because of who you are. The human being who really, really cares about the growth of others. So let's talk a little bit about the mentees. Will they make mistakes? Yes. Did you? Well, I did. Does the past failure determine their future? I don't think so. Otherwise, I would not be here. Yeah? So as a mentor, be that voice. Be the voice that dispels the doubts. Be the hands that really pick up, lift up when they fall, and be the map to show them the path to excellence. So you're going to help your mentees by feeding their potential. Feeding their potential, invest in them. Things that you find that work, effective practices, resources, share it. Sometimes they just need to be told. We all need to be reminded, that we have greatness in us. Sometimes we forget that. And many of us as Jamaicans, well, I don't know about you, let me speak about myself. We grew up in situations, and I'm from a humongous family of 11. They were trying to get a football team together, I'm sure. And so many times you don't have parents telling you how sweet and cute and smart you are. And so you grow up knowing that you better find that in yourself. And so you go in spaces where you struggle with these feelings of uncertainty. You struggle with these feelings of, am I good enough? Can I really do this? And here you have somebody, a mentor, who says, I see greatness in you. You have the potential to become somebody that this world will reckon with. So I'm going to ask us to feed the potential of our mentees and starve their doubts. So turn the impossible into possible. Help them to knock down on that im and bring up the possible, because each of us has the potential to do great things, and that's why we're here. We're here because there's purpose in the reason why we were created and why we're at the school we're at wherever we're placed. We're there for a purpose. We are strategically placed for however long we don't know, yes? But while you're there, make a difference. So I want to say to us, lift as you climb. Wherever you go, remember that you're not there because you're smarter than those who maybe didn't get the position that you've got. You're not there because you're more beautiful than anybody else. You're there because you're strategically placed to lift others as you climb. Dr. Miles Monroe said, pigeons scavenge on the ground and grumble and complain all day long. And we see them in the staff room, we see them in our workplaces, those who always have a problem with the boss, always have a problem with the always have a problem with the timetable. There's always a problem, and they're always grumbling. Be very careful who you entertain in your space, because you're not going to go beyond where those around you go. So like the eagles, fly, make less noise. You don't have to be the voice to say something all the time. When you speak, don't just talk, say something. But I encourage you to stay busy preparing for the opportunities that are awaiting you. Mentors are problem solvers. They're not complainers. They look at challenges, and then they move on to find solutions. So in closing, I want to ask you to make a commitment to invest in the lives of others. You're going to ensure that you invest in relationships. Be a mentor, and understand that as a mentor, your legacy will be perpetual. Leave a legacy of greatness. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Over to you, Mrs. Samuels.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Wilmott. This was fabulous. Legacy, leader, empathy, guide to goal, authentic care. Yes, it is possible. You know, I found myself thinking about this in great detail. So I have a question for you. I haven't seen too many questions, but I have to tell you, the feedback has been phenomenal. They are loving what you are sharing. They are appreciating not only the words, but the heart that is at the root of being a mentor and a mentee. So here's my question for you. Can anyone volunteer to be a mentor, Mrs. Peart? And I have several parts to this, so it depends on what you said to this. It will determine my next questions. Yes, can anyone volunteer? Not hearing you? No, not hearing you? Not hearing you? Help, help. We're not hearing her.
All right, I was muted, but now I'm talking. All right. So here's what we're doing.
Okay.
Yes, you can volunteer to mentor, but we want to, again, we respect the position of our principals or administrators, and so we do this through our administrators. We ask that the person sign up, and we go through a process, because one of the things that we also want to understand is that many times as teachers, because I have that challenge at home, I take home the teacher, and my children and my husband will say, remember, you're not. And so we go through things such as adult learning. What does that look like? Because when you're mentoring, you have to understand it's now a different space. So persons, yes, can volunteer, but we ask that the teachers go through their principals so that we have that understanding. So it's not something that you get this and the principals don't know about it, because we want the teachers also to be recognized for this on their appraisal when you're doing training, etc. We want the principals to know what their skill set is. And so yes, volunteer and go through the process of saying this to your administrators. Okay. And they have my number, anybody at the Jamaica Teaching Council you can reach out to. So yes.
Okay, Mrs. Wilmott, can I ask you to stop sharing, because then you'll fill the whole screen.
Oh, let me hop off.
Yeah. Okay, great. So let me ask you this. As a part of that process, I imagine there are some qualifications, if you will. Are they published?
Yes, these are shared again with our principals.
Okay.
And so they're the ones going through the criteria will select the mentors.
So the criteria is not available to all teachers to say, okay, let me see if I fit?
This is something that would have been shared with the principals. Okay. So it would have been sent out. But it is a thought where we can make this available, that you know, teachers have this, because what we're asking for technically are people who have this passion for others. Excellent, because you can't be a mentor if in your school there are question signs about, you know, punctuality, about who you are as a teacher.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay.
yes.
So let's assume then that let's run the path then of you know, you care about others, and you've reviewed the qualifications. Would you have to be, and let's assume then that your principal says, yes, that's a good idea for you. Is the mentor-mentee relationship always within within a particular school, or is there a family of schools? How does that part work?
All right. So what happens is that based on some schools that are really very small, you have teachers who will work with others in other schools based on proximity, relationship with the other schools, etc. Let me hasten to say also, very important, that we have a group of masterclass teachers, and these are excellent teachers from across the island that I would do such great injustice if I never mentioned them to really. And currently we have a team of them who are working online to do training to ensure that their colleagues are up to par with these online tools, and they make themselves available to answer questions. Teachers share, you know, they share their numbers so they can, etc. So it is not just within schools. While we're working assiduously to have trained mentors in all schools, and currently we have training going on, but we're not saying if you're at a school, you can't mentor others. No. Definitely, we are encouraging teachers to reach out to us, because once they want all schools we don't want to have excellent teachers in one school having certain capabilities, certain qualities, and others are short. We want everybody to collaborate, network like that, and share the love.
Right. Forgive me. I lost some of what you just said. I'm not sure whether it's your internet or mine, quite frankly. But no worries. I was trying to read your lips a little bit.
Oh, yes, it seemed to have been mine.
Okay.
It seemed to have been, I seem to have stepped out. So I'm saying teachers are free to share across. It's not limited to the school that you're trained for.
Okay, great. So is there a cost for the training?
No.
No,
there isn't. No.
Okay.
No.
Great. Last question. So is there, I don't want to say cross-level mentoring? So if I am a teacher in a secondary school, could I mentor someone that's either in another secondary school or in a primary school? How, do you do that kind of thing?
Of course, because remember, it's not just looking at content, and
Right.
I also want to, yes, we work from early childhood all the way to secondary, right? So we are inclusive.
Okay.
It's important that no teacher is left behind. We don't want to exclude anyone. Is, you know, we don't want to talk about inclusiveness but not carry it out. So we look at how do we include everyone in this growth path.
Okay, a question that came up, I think, as a follow-on to mine. What's the duration of the training?
All right, so there are 5 units in the training. Currently, the one going on, COVID has taught us quite a bit. It's online for the first time.
Okay.
And so it's 5 weeks, at the end of which we have an assessment, and then so it's 5 weeks online. Online. Normally we would go across schools. We do one unit in we do in the different regions face to face, and that but now we're doing it online. And the 5 weeks doesn't mean that it's so much the content, but we understand that there are challenges with internet bandwidth, etc. And so we give teachers the time to interact with the material, and then we have a conversation online before they go into the actual assessment.
An assessment. Okay.
Yes.
There's a question. Where is the training available? You just said it was online, right? No? Right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So can vice principals be a part of the mentorship program? That's a
Initially, we said we just wanted our principals, but we're understanding now that vice principals, heads of department, they have to do mentoring in their different capacities, and so we say yes. But our major focus is on our teachers, but we're not excluding anyone at this point.
So, Mrs. Wilmott,
Yes.
what about the diaspora? Do we have a place in your program at this point?
I'm so happy you asked that, because it would be, I would have walked away feeling very sad if I didn't say to you, definitely. We value the experience of our members who would have gone to the different countries, have the exposure, have access to resources, etc. So we're saying yes. Yes, yes, yes. Please come on board. Please connect with our teachers. We will make that space available for you, for the networking, the collaboration, to have that ongoing conversation, because I think we all have the same heartbeat, and that is to see Jamaica being the place where everybody knows that we have the best teachers in the whole entire complete put together world. Jamaica has just the best teachers, teachers who are committed, teachers who make bread out of stone. I'm sure that they're all connected to the master teacher, Jesus, because the things that our teachers do to ensure that our students learn, I don't think you can find it anywhere else. So definitely, we'd appreciate the diaspora coming on board and supporting our teachers.
So 2 comments behind that. There is a subcommittee within the Jamaica Diaspora Education Task Force that is focused on mentoring.
And
so
I would have signed up for that.
Yes, I am sure if they will be in touch for sure.
I look forward to
because
that.
I can see this coming together. There are educators all across the globe. But as someone who has done mentoring myself, you also want to be careful.
Yes.
And you want to be clear, and you want to have some guidelines and all of those things. And it's important that everybody know what everybody's doing. So that's a wonderful thing. So second point that I want to share with you is I am a part of the alumni community. And I will tell you that very, very often, what we hear within our alumni is that the reason that they're active in the alumni organization is because they had a teacher or teachers that made all the difference in their lives.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have lots of endorsement coming from our community for your statement that Jamaica has the best teachers. You're not going to get any argument from me.
Not debatable.
Okay, let me check our chat room to see if there are any other questions. Can we still sign up for the mentorship program which is taking place?
And we're starting a new program in August. So that one we will we'll make available, and I'm going to ask teachers that you follow the Instagram and Facebook page, as we keep posting different things that are coming up there. So do check the Jamaica Teaching Council Facebook page and our Instagram page, and you will see our next set of the different courses that are coming up and training that we offer.
Okay, let me take another quick scan here to see if there